Here we are. Happy Monday, FT fam. Scotty Braun, AJ Pierzynski, Erik Kratz. The OG's been here since day one. Question to start before we charge the mound on some actual news, guys, is do you think that Juan Soto will hold up the market until he signs? We can even maybe do it as a poll question if anyone fancy behind the scenes wants to set that up today. Do we have to wait for Juan Soto to sign for anything else significant to happen in the market because of the teams involved and where they would allocate funds after that? I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll go. Kratz?
No, I don't think so. I think they're working with kind of like what we talked about with the Blue Jays on Friday. They're working with kind of that Shohei Ohtani, like one time this doesn't really go along with the rest of our budget kind of move. So I'm going to say no. It doesn't hold up the market. It'll slow some guys, but I think it's going to be slow no matter what, because then the next guy will hold the market up.
Yeah, I don't think this one matters as much, because I don't think that there's enough. It wasn't like Shohei where the whole industry was waiting to see what he got. I think there's a select few teams that have really focused in on him, but I also think they have the ability to pivot quicker. What happened with Shohei?
Can I go hard against you guys? Because I think when you have Mets, Yankees, claims of Blue Jays, Red Sox, and maybe a few others like Dodgers, Phillies, etc., even if you don't really buy it. But even just those four teams alone are going to be spenders, especially three of them, right? The Yankees, Mets, and Red Sox are going to spend some decent money probably this offseason.
The Yankees have to rebuild kind of their roster a little bit. I mean, they have a lot of parts they have to find. First base, second base, third base, whichever one.
Yeah, for Jazz.
Possibly an outfielder.
If they don't get Soto, my point is, doesn't the rest of that list in the top 15 wait because they want to see if the Yankees are going to be involved?
I think the Red Sox are going to do other things.
You're not buying the Soto thing.
I'm not buying the Red Sox and Soto.
It's the in-on situation
where I think I think Teoscar Hernandez is a way better fit for them in that ballpark.
Okay. He's going to be a little cheaper too.
Yeah, but I think him, and then you can go get some other players. I think you could mix in maybe go get Blake Snell for 3 years or something like that, right? Or someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
Do something like that and get two players maybe for the price of one, or three players for the price of one.
Agreed. Okay. So for everyone else, let us know what you think. FT fam, a yes or no, if we need to see Soto signed before we get other heavy hitters like Teo, Santander, Pete Alonso, especially looking at corner bats and seeing if they need to wait for Soto. Even Bregman, right? Like if the Yankees don't get Soto, is Bregman more of a possibility?
Or do they go after Pete?
Or both. Both those deals won't add up to Soto's deal. So anyway, we do have a potential deal and an accepted deal, I guess, right? So let's charge the damn mound.
He's charging the mound.
Right, so let's spend some time on the Cincinnati Reds. Yesterday, FT Senior Insider and the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal put out the report about the possibility of a trade between the Royals and the Reds that would involve Brady Singer on the Kansas City side and Jonathan India on the Cincinnati side. Now, this was before the news broke that Nick Martinez will accept the qualifying offer at around $21 million. It's a 34-year-old, really good pitcher in the bigs who gets a significant increase on his salary from $14 million this past season. He had opted out. They said, no, you can opt out, but we're going to try to keep you with the qualifying offer. I don't know if the Reds thought he was going to take it or not, but he did. This was from Francis Romero yesterday, and then we've gotten some confirmation from others today. So $21 million. We do have someone who takes it, and he's had a 3.31 ERA since coming back from Japan in 2022. That was a lucrative trip overseas to come back and be a strong pitcher in the bigs, including NL Pitcher of the Month in September. I'm going to say now that the Reds wouldn't do a deal like that necessarily because of where their pitching's at and how much they're spending on it. So this was before that. But Kansas City, I think, is definitely still very interested in Jonathan India, so maybe they can pull something else off. Your thoughts?
I think this is the one guy we thought would accept, and he did. And he makes $21 million. Now, could he have maybe gotten a multi-year deal on the market? Maybe, but he's comfortable in Cincinnati, and plus he gets $21 million. So maybe he doesn't want to go through free agency again, which a lot of guys don't. But, I mean, Nick Martinez back to the Reds makes a lot of sense for both parties. Tito, I'm sure, was in his ear saying, hey, man, you got a chance to be really special for us. We're going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is also a signal that Reds might spend some money this offseason.
I think this trade for India and Singer going over to the Reds and Jonathan India still makes sense. Even with Nick Martinez back in the fold, nobody threw over 150 innings for the Reds this year. Brady Singer, I think he's at 173, something like that. Like, that's huge. They need guys that are not going to kill their bullpen, which they already still need to upgrade their bullpen. So I think the Reds are still. I don't think this precludes. I don't think this definitely pushes the Brady Singer talk off the table. I love that trade for both teams because the Royals get a leadoff guy, which they didn't have, and India is much better in the leadoff spot. So I think it still happens, or I think it should still continue to be discussed. But I think it's great because it gives the Reds versatility. If Rhett Lauder comes into spring training and shows them what he needs to, now they have depth in the minor leagues, or he can step in and Nick Martinez can swing from the rotation to the bullpen.
I just wonder about. I mean, they have a lot of guys: Lodolo, Abbott, right? Nick Martinez. If they bring over Singer, they've got a lot of options at starting pitcher. But who's the one guy that's going to step up and take the next step and be the real, true leader of this staff? Because it seems like all these guys get hurt all the time.
Yeah, but now, Hunter Green's hurt,
though.
Standout season.
But he got hurt. That's what I'm saying.
That's why I love Singer.
But Rhett Lauder was awesome. Rhett Lauder was awesome when he got called up. The question for me is, India was kind of the leader of this team. Who's going to take over his role? Now, I know they have McLean coming back, and everyone's hoping Ellie takes that next step, or whether it's Encarnacion Strand or whoever it might be. But India's been the guy that's been there, and he's been a leader for him. And I know last year when this all went down, he was talking about being traded. People were already mad about it. I don't know. I mean, I like this trade, but to me, it doesn't do a lot for either team. I mean, the Royals are getting another guy that they kind of have a bunch of those similar guys in Jonathan India, and they're trading away an asset to them, which is a starting pitcher.
But my thing is, India can plug in right away at second base. They played a number of guys at second base. Yeah. I know Massey was the answer over most others. And also, they had, as a team, a brutal on-base percentage. Jonathan India is like a 36% of the time on-base guy-ish. They could not get on base if you look at the lineup, and especially at the top. They want somebody who's going to get on base for Bobby to do damage, and that was a huge hole for them. So I actually think it's more of a fit for the Royals side than it is for the Red side. Because here's the problem I have on the Red side. So I was doing some homework and also found a recent quote in the last several days from their president, not Kroll, but Doug Healy is the name, CFO, COO. Said payroll will be about at or above 2024. So I'm like, okay, that's good. So you look back, opening day payroll last year for the Reds was about $90 million, third lowest in Major League Baseball. Now, with Nick Martinez accepting that qualifying offer.
He's already over. He's almost a quarter of it already.
Dude, their current payroll right now is in the 93 range. And we know the Reds. They're not going to suddenly go from 90 to 150. So if they're already at 93, how much more can they go?
Why can't they look at the Royals, though, and say, well, the Royals went and got Waka. The Royals went out and got Lugo. The Royals made some shrewd moves. And look, they got to the playoffs. The Reds last year were supposed to be that team that took the next step, but they didn't get the right guys. Right? How much is Candelario making?
3 years, 45-ish.
Okay, so between Martinez and Candelario, there's $36 million. You're already over a third of your way. That's two guys. You got to fill the roster out somehow.
Or you got to get to 150, which is
that's what I'm saying. You got to go out
on your big boy pants.
Get some guys that'll help you take the next step.
Yeah,
and you see it with these young teams. The teams that go from build, and then we're going to take the next jump. Whether it was the Astros, whether it was the Cubs, whether whoever it was. Cubs went out and got John Lester, John Lackey, right? They went out and got Jason Hayward. They took him to the next level, right? The Astros went out and traded for Verlander, brought on some payroll, brought in some veteran guys to take them to the next level. The Reds have to do that, and that involves having to up the payroll more than $3 million.
They were hard in on Sonny Gray. They had it. It was between the Reds and the Cardinals, and he ended up accepting to the Cardinals. I think the number was $5 million extra, but I'm not sure if I'm just making that up in my mind. but Sonny went to the Cardinals. He wanted to go back to the Reds. They didn't quite match it. To me, that at least means the Reds were in the $60 to $70 million range. How much is Teo going to get this year? What does Teo do to that lineup? I know we thought this lineup was going to be legit, but if you make a few trades like a Singer to the rotation that gives you consistent innings out of the rotation and not just, the revolving door of Lodolo going down, then Hunter Green missing a start, and then Abbott missing a start, and then, Rhett Lauder's his innings limit because he's so young is set to a certain limit. Now you have depth, but you also added to your lineup too. And I get it. India was a leader on that team. Somebody else has to step up.
Yeah, it might be a drop off of the article I read, but they're in the
Hernandez
range.
isn't going to the Reds. I'm sorry.
Teoscar Hernandez is way too expensive for
Not
Cincinnati.
going to the Reds.
I mean, he's going to get $20-something million a year. They're going to suddenly go from the 90s here, already jumping up to the 115, 120 range in one deal. No way are they going to do that. And they still have
going to go
other
$20
things to
million to
handle.
somebody.
No,
They're willing to do it.
They just did.
They're willing to do it last year with Sonny Gray, and they already had a lot of depth in the rotation. This is a need that they have. You don't think Teo's going to get 4 years, $80 million?
I think he's
going
to
get more than that. And they're not going to go there.
They're not going to win that battle. I mean, if the Red Sox and the Reds are competing, for example, for Teo among the Dodgers as well, the team that's going way down on that list is Cincinnati. They don't play ball like that very often. And I think they anticipated Nick Martinez was going to decline it. I really think that's what they were.
I don't think that anybody thought anybody would really accept one of these. Because usually nobody really does. It's very rare that guys accept this. Nick Martinez is like, I like Cincinnati. Family's comfortable here. $21 million. That ain't too bad.
Yeah, he's 34 years old. Here's what probably went through their head as well is you do your homework. These qualifying offers get offered, and then you have time to do your homework. His agency, whoever it is, probably made the phone calls and said, hey, we might be able to pull off a 2 or 3 year deal, but it's going to be at a lower average annual value. And he's like, screw it. I'm going to get 21. I'm going to get it done again this year, and then I'll see if I get myself a multi-year deal next year without draft pick compensation attached to me, which teams hate. So just throwing that out there. But anyway, thoughts from everyone. Interesting little decision here by the Reds to offer that, and then by Nick Martinez to accept it. Coming right back with our first player guest of the day. We've got Brett Phillips joining us on FT. Hey, big announcement. We got a little giveaway action on FT, so we wanted to hit this towards the top of the show. If you want to attend the Players Trust Playmakers Classic, we have a little tweet that you can check out right now for a chance at winning 2 tickets, 3 very easy steps. Ready for it? You press a button to follow us if you don't already. If you're watching us, you probably follow us on Twitter. You follow MLBPA. You retweet the post. Good luck. That's it. We'll pick a winner from that group. We'll go to the retweets. We'll randomize it. We pick the winner. 2 tickets to the event. It's awesome. Obviously, we've been talking about it. We were there last year. It's all for a great cause to make an impact in the community. And if you don't win, or if you want to just make sure you're definitely going, go to playerstrust.org. You can also use the code PlaymakersFT, 15% off individual tickets. It's all to support youth across the country and providing access to cutting-edge academic and athletic programs for kids. It's awesome. The big leaguers run it. The big leaguers are there. There's our guy Corbin Carroll, who was on the show the other day. I like that photo. Very classic-looking appearance there from Corbin. So everyone hit a little retweet and maybe comment somebody that you think should see this and would want to go. It's in downtown Phoenix in February. Any other thoughts?
We were there last year. It was great.
Yeah,
it was a great event. Good music, lots of people, lots of access to the players. Also, there's a lot of access to the players.
I would say top-notch access. Not many events where
many you can get right next to them.
Play blackjack, eat food, have a cocktail,
drink with them.
Go up to a lot of dudes.
They're talking. They're relaxed.
Yeah.
I mean, how many guys did we get to talk to last year? I'm thinking Max Fried, Amir Garrett. I mean, there was a whole slew
Flaherty
of them
was there.
right there.
Tommy Pham.
Tyler Stevenson.
Go down the line. Corbin Carroll, of course. So go check that out. Check out the website. Check out the giveaway. Obviously, we love giving stuff away. And we'll be right back with Brett Phillips. Hey, here we go. We got Brett Phillips on FT. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Fellas, it's been a long time coming. It's great to see y'all. Kratzy, what's up, my boy?
What up, kid? Nice snapback. What are we playing? Are we playing video games with you right now? Is that what's happening?
I mean, if you want to run it after the interview, we can get on some COD, whatever you're thinking.
You have no chance of playing Call of Duty. You texted me that you changed your first blowout diaper for the new baby. Congratulations. There's no way you're getting that tiny little like baby poop in your Xbox controller because it's never coming out. All right. You can't get that out of there.
Oh man, yeah, that was wild. We've had a couple since. Obviously, I had Mila 2 weeks ago, and she's just been an absolute joy. But yeah, those blowouts have been a doozy for sure. And I've been taking one for the team mostly, so my wife can. Which she's been a superstar putting the team on her back, but I've been in charge mostly of the diapers. So yeah, handling that.
I love it. All right. Well, what are you up to right now? Give us the state of what you're working on this offseason. And you're in the Yanks minor league system this past year, right?
Yeah. So I got released by the White Sox in May. AJ, I know that's tough.
Listen. No, you know what I'm thinking, Brett, right now is, damn. Like, I'm sorry. First of all, you had to play for them. Second of all, like, damn.
Yeah, but who loves White Sox cuts?
Who?
The Yankees.
Oh, that's true.
Jay Cousins.
I mean, they all went to the World Series. Tim Hill, Cousins, all these guys couldn't play for the White Sox. That's why you signed with the Yankees. Before we even get into what you're up to, I just want to know this. Are you a pitcher now, or are you an outfielder? Or are you a two-way guy like Shohei, and are you expecting that kind of contract, right? Because now you can officially do both, right? So 10 years, $20 million, defer 680 till later. I would do that with you.
I think we're all expecting that kind of contract. I think you guys are still expecting that kind of contract in retirement. So, no, I got released by the White Sox. I was in AAA in May. And, it just got to a point. It was my 13th season of professional baseball. I felt like the game was kind of passing me by a little bit when it came to the offensive side of things, especially in the roles that I was in the last couple of years, playing a few times a week. I just wasn't producing, and I felt that in my soul that, it might have been time to move forward. But what kind of was holding me still in the game was I'm healthy. I still want to compete. I can still run the bases. I can still play the outfield. But obviously, if you're not hitting, there's not many roles for those kind of guys anymore, that's just the reality of it. So when I got released by the White Sox in May, I was very thankful for the opportunity to go to big league spring training and have an opportunity to make that team out of spring training, which I almost did. Went down to AAA, and it was limited time. We had guys on the 40-man that needed to play, and I was playing once or twice a week. And ultimately, there was just no at-bats for me. And so no one ended up calling after I got released to play the outfield, to hit anymore. So like I said, I still wanted to compete. I still felt that deep in my loins that I wanted to help a team win. So I started building up. My wife and I, we live here 40 minutes north of Austin. So I was working out at ROI, a guy by the name of Sean Gallagher, who was helping me, pitch and figure things out. And I ended up building up all through the summer. It took about 3 months. And I went to one, it was an amateur tournament where you couldn't be signed with a professional team. It was the NBC World Series. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it in Wichita, but I threw 1 inning and the ball was coming out clean. I knew where it was going. I had good curveball, and there was a few teams the next morning that were wanting to sign me and give me a shot to figure it out. So I ended up going down to Tampa, which was the Yankees spring training facility. And I was building up there. I think I started building up a little too fast, ended up getting a little shoulder impingement, which is fine now. And I ended up throwing one inning there towards the end, which didn't go well at all. I didn't record it out, but still kind of battling through a little rustiness in the shoulder. But yeah, it was a great experience. So where I'm at now, I've just been building up this offseason, still pitching, just still trying to figure it out. Like I said, it's 13 years of professional baseball. I'm gonna make a transition. I'm healthy. I feel good. Just looking for an opportunity to compete and continue to do what I love. And yeah, so that's kind of long story short.
Well, what happened on that 1 inning on the mound? Did the young Latinos from Dominican, were they swinging? They weren't chasing that slider in the dirt?
No, they were all over it. There was a lot of balls thrown. Actually, I was missing high. Tried the corner and missed. Went to the backstop a few too many times and let up. I was only on a 20 pitch count just because I was coming off of that little tweak. But yeah, at least I got to throw in a professional game down in low A, and I'm hoping for more opportunities to do that. I loved it. It was a different type of competition just because I've always been on the receiving end of the ball, but now being able to initiate and kind of start the battle. It was fun. It was interesting.
At least you didn't have the inning did you see the Braves minor league guy that had like the 7 wild pitches and the 7 walks and the 3 errors or whatever it was?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you were on a pitch count, so you didn't get quite that bad, right?
It probably would have been that if what was crazy leading up to that point, AJ, everything was feeling great. I threw probably 6 to 8 innings down in rookie ball, maybe let up a hit or two. The ball was coming out really good. The metrics, so they tell me, were good. And I didn't have any control issues until kind of that shoulder impingement started barking. And, me just being the competitor, I wanted to get at least record a professional inning. And it was probably a little too fast. But again, that was on me. That was my decision. Being 30 years old, I know opportunities are limited. So we have to try and take advantage of any shot. But I'm glad it was only 20 pitches. I think, it probably would have been towards that outing the Braves minor leaguer, put that kind of showing. So yeah, no good.
All right. Since you're the face of the Rays in the 2020 World Series, when you blacked
like
out
ago, huh?
It does feel like forever ago, but you were like 19 years old during that season. Like you've never aged. But what do you think about the Rays stadium issues now? I mean, the roof, you tried to tear the roof off when you played there, but like the roof blew off, and now what do you think they need to do? Not only that, but what happens if these bonds, I don't know if you've watched it closely, they had a stadium, now there's a chance that the bonds don't go through. Where should the Rays play if those bonds don't go through for the new stadium?
Oof. Yeah, this is a tough situation. You made a good point. That roof has withstand a lot of missiles off my bat. And I'm surprised that they were able to, a hurricane was able to take it off. But the unfortunate events, in all seriousness, it sucks all around. It's not an easy situation to house a Major League Baseball team and, that quickly of time to, figure out where they're going to play. I saw they're going to be playing at Steinbrenner. That's correct, right?
Yep.
Yes.
As for the Bonds, they're going to make it work. I think that fan base has been growing exponentially the last. I listen, this is what I tell everyone. They were an expansion team in '98. So you think about like generational fan base of teams that have been around for 100 years. I think we're finally, I say we just because I'm from the area. I think the Rays are finally starting to create, a generational fan base where, our kids grew up Rays fans as opposed to, my dad was a New York Yankees fan or my mom was a Boston Red Sox fan. So I'm a Red Sox fan, but I live in St. Pete or I live in the Tampa area. So I think we're starting to get past that where you have, I watched the Rays growing up, so I want my kid to be a Rays fan. So I say all that to say, when it comes to the Bonds process and it comes to all the drama surrounding where they're going to build a stadium or where it's going to be, they're going to figure it out. I think there's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of fans that really have taken a liking to supporting the Rays, especially in the last, 10 years or so. It's just been a great organization to follow. And I think they're doing a really good job building that up. And also the marketing, they're doing a lot better of promoting the Rays as opposed to years past. So I don't know. What do you think, Kratzy? Where do you think they go?
I think they stay there. I think they figure it out. There's too much political push to figure it out. Everybody just wants their piece.
Yeah. And to a little drama is, it's a little good for conversation and speculation. But at the end of the day, they're going to figure it out.
Brett, what happens is the mayor of Seminole, which is people don't know, Seminole is right by St. Pete. You have to drive past Seminole to get to the Trop, and what's left of the Trop, excuse me. But first of all, before I ask this question, everything was okay with your family because I got smashed by the hurricane, the same one that took the roof off. Everyone's okay with your family, and I've talked to some guys over there, and they say it's better now, but everyone's okay. Before I ask the next question.
Yeah. Thank God. Friends and family, for the most part, were good. I know a lot of my buddies who lived on the beach, there was a lot of flooding, but, they're figuring it out. And my parents, they had, a lot of debris down. Luckily, where my mom lives, there's a ton of pine trees. And we had about 4 fall down, luckily in the opposite directions of the home. That could have been catastrophic, but it'll be a month or two process of chainsawing those trees up and getting them out of there. But thankfully everyone's safe and houses are good. So I appreciate you asking that.
Okay, great. Now let me ask you this. What happens if the Rays play at Steinbrenner Field for this year and they draw 15,000 every night? Well, there any thought that everyone – listen, I live in Orlando. It's not that far. But it's a lot farther to St. Pete than it is for me to go to Tampa and go to a Lightning game, go to O'Malley, right, and watch a concert, then take the next 45 minutes across the causeway. What happens if they draw 15,000 and people are like, maybe we actually should put this stadium in downtown Tampa? Do you think there's any chance something like that could happen?
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. Like you said, going down to St. Pete, whether it's from Sarasota going over the Skyway or coming from Orlando, going through Tampa traffic, it's really a logistical nightmare getting in and out of St. Pete, especially during game time and just with traffic situations. But I think as St. Pete continues to grow, there's a lot of area that is continuing to build up. And I think bringing a lot of businesses there, they're going to have to restructure highways. And like I said, just logistically getting in and out of that area. Now, speaking of Tampa, you're going to draw a lot more, right? You look at the Bucks when they're popular. Tampa, the Lightning, as you know, AJ, that they're our most popular sports team. And they sell out almost every night. And I think that's a great area. For me personally, a ballpark in Tampa makes more sense. I'm sure you guys have heard this, but if you draw like a circle around the Trop, what is it, like 100 miles or so, 50 to 100 miles, you only reach I think 400,000 or 500,000 people because you're running into the ocean, right? You just don't have that many people there. But in Tampa, you're going to reach easily over 1 million people, drawing from the Orlando area, drawing from the St. Pete area, and then obviously Tampa being a huge city and continuing to be a desired place to live. That's your best shot of having fans. Now, if you build a brand new ballpark and you kind of go about how the Braves did in Atlanta with, the shopping centers, St. Pete is a big foodie town. If you're adding more like culture and stuff like that, then I can see either way, the Rays are going to continue to grow. It's how much you want to grow them, I guess, at this point. And if St. Pete is like, no, we're not getting rid of our baby, like they're going to do everything they can to keep them, even though they know Tampa can draw more, then I think that's what they're going to do.
Wow, what a great answer. You're so intelligent. Do you get that from you?
No, hey, you know what? I just listen to people speak and then I just say what they say. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I just hear, scroll on Twitter, watch your guys' interviews and then just like, oh yeah, I'm going to take a piece of that and then I'm going to use it for myself.
Okay. So that brings me to the next question before I get to 2 quick hitter questions for you. But what does Trey think about you guys living in Texas? Trey Hillman is your father-in-law. For your wife, Brianna, is her father, which is Trey Hillman, the Trey Hillman. But what does he think of you guys living in Texas? And is he over at the house all the time?
Honestly, Kratzy, I can't say enough good things about Trey and Marie, my in-laws. They've been helping us so much. Yes, they've been over. They've been helping, especially with the newborn. They've just been, oh my gosh, I can't, like I said, I can't thank them enough. They're awesome. And Trey, he's got 38 plus years of professional experience. So just having him as a father-in-law to talk baseball with when we do, it's not much, but if I ever have any questions or I need advice on how to approach a situation, I mean, I'm not going to get better sound advice from someone else because this guy's done it all. He's managed in Korea, won a championship in Korea, won a championship in Japan, managed in the States, and he's just well respected and I love him to death. So yeah, he's been over and I'm like, come on, whenever you want, come, it's not like the crazy in-laws that are showing up. They've got tremendous feel, right? They're, they're not showing up unexpected or anything like that. But just to have in-laws close for Bree and for myself to help out it's been tremendous, as what he would say.
Oh, that is disgusting.
I'm working on my dad jokes.
That is the worst. And I love dad jokes, but that is a terrible dad joke. Like you're like 5 weeks into this dad joke thing.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
You love it. What is the value? What is the value of a glue guy in the clubhouse? Because you were that guy. You had versatility for a team. You still had speed. I know you said your offense went down, but what is the value of a glue guy? Because we look at across, in San Francisco, Buster Posey's now the president of baseball operations over there, so he knows the value of it. But we always try to equate it and what that actually means for a team because you were that guy.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm not going to speak about myself, but other guys who just brought the team together and just were great teammates each and every day. They showed up and they were the same guy every day who brought energy and just were willing to help you out and try to figure out this life. Because as you guys know, professional baseball is very tough, right? Major League Baseball is a whole nother level, and just navigating through that process and, the stuff that is just so magnified, the pressure, it's really, you could have all the talent in the world and never perform because of that stuff. And having a guy who is a superstar, an all-star, a glue guy, just to pick you up each and every day, to show you the ropes, to help you out. I mean, you can't put a number on it value-wise, especially if they can actually play and help you win ball games as well. I think you can look at every World Series team in the past and you can look to a couple guys and be like, yeah, he might have not been the best player on the team, but we wouldn't have been where we are without him because of how he showed up every day, how he took the time to pour into the young guys, to give them the confidence. You know how much confidence like an all-star player can give a younger guy just by speaking truth into him, by, encouraging him. I don't care if it's at the major league level. If you've been there, you've made your money, you've done all the things, and you can just take the time to pick someone up, like you're going to boost the confidence of a young guy so much. So, it's the value. You can't put a number on it. It's those are guys you have to have on your team if you want to win a World Series. And I think you guys could both agree to that. A lot of the times, when it comes down to the end, it's not about how talented you are. It's, being in the dog days with the boys and picking each other up and, passing the baton. You hear it time and time again that, it's that everyone says, but it's the truth.
No doubt. No doubt. I love that. All right. Here's your quick hitter questions. What's the weirdest superstition you saw any of your teammates or you did while you were playing?
Oof. So Mike Trout, obviously before I played with him, one of my favorite players, it was awesome to be on the same squad as him. But I watched how he just went about his business as a superstar. And I always seen him like pick up a little tiny rock before he goes in the dugout and he puts it in his back pocket. I don't know if that's a superstition of his or, just kind of routine, but I always seen him pick up a little pebble. So if you guys ever talk to him and see, I don't know, he might call me crazy or something, but I swear I see him pick up a little pebble right after he signs autographs. He comes in, picks it up right before the dugout, and he puts it in his back pocket. So yeah, I never asked him about it or talked to him about it, but that was interesting. Oh, we had a guy in AAA, actually, if he was struggling, he would throw on a man thong underneath his tights. And that usually he got out of his slump doing that, but he would do like a little dance, on his man thong. I thought that was awesome. But yeah.
Trout was picking up stones for his golf course. That's what he was doing. He's slowly every year, every game. So we'll ask him next time he comes on. We'll make sure we ask him that. All right, last one. I think I know the answer to this because you got a baby, but you guys traveling anywhere cool this offseason?
No, unfortunately, usually we go down to Florida for Christmas to see the fam. For our anniversary last year, we did Cabo. That was our first kind of trip we had done since we got married. That was our 4-year anniversary. But this year is going to be pretty light with a nowborn, obviously trying to avoid the sickness and the flu, cold season, whatever you want to call it. But nowhere crazy, just here in Liberty Hill, Texas.
All right, last one, just a comment from me. Make sure when you go and see Sean Gallagher that since I ended his career playing with him in 2010, catching him, that he can continue the pitching generation on by teaching you to pitch better.
Okay. All right. I will definitely let him know.
Tell him I said that.
And he'll appreciate that. And also, I wanted to let you know, Kratzy, I really appreciate how you treated me as a younger guy. I'm not just saying this because we're on video, but I respect the heck out of you. Thank you so much for always, pouring into me when you could. And it goes a long way and people don't forget that. So thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. It means a lot. I really was just trying to get you to laugh, because your laugh, if nobody has seen Brett's laugh, it is viral. I know you're grown up now. You're a dad. You can't get that laugh going, but
you got to be funny to do all that.
You got to be funny. Right.
Hey, Brett, I got to ask. I mean, you're up in I guess you have a new house. I know you have a new baby. But can we get some furniture in your house, please?
No, the carpet's fresh.
The carpet is brand new, obviously. But can we get like a couch or something? I mean,
one jersey.
It's got to be a man cave. Well, there's a jersey hanging in like the hallway.
No, that's not a
One
hallway.
jersey?
That's a room. There's a bunch of jerseys in there and couches. So this is my thought process. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. We're upstairs right now. I'm at my desk where I don't do much at, but I'm going to keep this a little more open because when Mila gets older, I'm thinking like wiffle ball up here. We're gonna be kicking soccer balls, and I just remember as a kid, I wanted one big open room of carpet that I could run zoomies on and like just like wreak havoc without having the parents' furniture and nice stuff. So this is gonna be like this area right here. We're gonna absolutely get after it. We're gonna have all her toys, and it's just gonna be chaos up here. So hopefully the next time we talk, we have this room a little filled out, and you'll be like, okay, that's fun, you know.
Yeah, it's a playroom.
Until your wife says we need to make that into something useful. That's when all that fun time you're talking about, it all goes away. When your wife says, "Okay, Brett, it sounds great. You know, you and Milo, you can kick soccer balls, but you can go outside to do that. So get out of the air conditioning. I need that room for a guest room or a playroom for the kids or whatever it is." I mean, there's something that, trust me, it will not end up like that.
I'm just gonna tell her, hey, AJ said I had to keep it like this. So if you gotta take it up with him if you have a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. So between her and Trey, they'll both be like, "Who the hell is that?"
Save it.
Exactly. Well, awesome. Yeah.
Oh, you guys are kicking me. You guys are kicking me off, huh?
Well, I'm not kicking you out, but we're on television, actually all over Florida. So eventually, we do have to, pay the bills a little bit. But, all right, you got last word. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna see what y'all got going on in foul territory. What anything up and coming that you guys want to share? What do you got?
Well, today, John Sterling, the legendary voice of the New York Yankees, is joining us. I know a lot of fans are excited about that, but in general, I mean, there are 10 shows under the FT network, so a little bit of something for everyone. If you like prospects, if you like Ken Rosenthal's insider stuff on Fair Territory, new episode coming out today. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got going on, hustling every day, 2 hours a day, and we can use this room as an excuse to talk about baseball.
Yeah, that's sick. All right, last one. Each of you guys got to answer in short. Favorite thing to do in foul territory? Go ahead, Kratzy.
Make fun of AJ.
Yours?
Sign off.
Sign off.
Nice.
I was going to say make fun of Kratz.
Deuces.
No? Mine, for sure. You know what mine is.
Role play.
No.
Yeah, he loves role play.
I like to talk about things I couldn't talk about at my last job. Let's put it that way.
Oh, nice.
You know what honestly, Brett, the best part is
Yeah.
getting to talk to the players and the people that are involved. That's like the best part.
Yeah.
And getting their personalities out there. And then plus when I get to do a game, whatever team you're on next year, I walk in and I say, "Hey, Brett, we talked for 20 minutes once. Oh, how's it going? Thanks for coming on. Da 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 da. Did you fill out your room yet? Did you put furniture behind you yet? Like things like that. That's what for me is the best part."
Oh, that's great. Yeah, shooting the breeze with the boys. It's never gonna get old.
Yeah, AJ's a superstar. Fox broadcaster on the weekends now. He's always good, but now he's rattling off questions like people are saying, "Where's he getting this stuff from?" Well, it's here, but. Dude, awesome catching up with you. Good luck on the battle for the rights to what the room will do. Maybe give it naming rights or something, but Zoomies room. And enjoy the rest of the offseason, dude, and good luck with the pitching pursuit.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate it. Great seeing y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, if you need a bullpen catcher, Kratz is available.
That's a good point for you. Kratz
I'll hit a dinger. I'll hit a dinger off of that weak sauce pitch that you got, no doubt.
They're playing us off.
450.
That was fun. I actually love that when we get questions. We should put more pressure on some of the better speakers to ask us questions. You know who would love that? Rowdy.
I was going to say Rowdy.
Rowdy would love that.
Max, I think Max would ask some good questions too.
Muncy or Scherzer?
He's both Max.
Right?
Yeah.
Get the intellectual guests to ask us questions about what we think.
They don't have to be intellectual. They just have to have nice personalities.
Yeah. Kratz, who would be good at asking us the questions from the guests that we had, or for anyone in the chat right now?
I'm afraid Ross Stripling would ask us questions, and I'd be like, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I want the managers to ask AJ questions, just so AJ can continually slowly work into his managerial role.
Trust me, when we have those meetings before a game, they ask me plenty. Like Mendy.
They do, right?
Oh, Mendy will be like, what do you think? I'm like, you don't want to know what I think, Mendy.
But that's smart. I actually love that.
It actually is good. No,
Yeah.
I like it. Like the good ones that are really good. Like if I get with Hinch will ask, like, well, we're looking at this. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, okay, I'll give my opinion on it.
Those are the best ones in my mind because it shows, first of all, a sign of respect because they're usually talking to people like you who played for a long time, really know the game well. Sometimes there's, a sideline person or an insider or something who might have just some info from another team, right? Or, there's a bunch of people out in the room. Like I've sat there. It's someone like you where it's a Smoltz or a Verducci, all these people that really talk to a lot of other people within the sport. So I'm into it versus someone that's just kind of rattling off some cookie cutter basic answers, not asking for your opinion. You know who I'm talking about.
Certain managers are not into it, but you get the good ones. You get Aaron Boone's awesome, yep. Alex Cora, Mendoza in New York. Topper's good. Topper's a little quiet. He's got a little dryness to him. And you can ask him some questions sometimes, and he'll kind of look at you like, you're crazy for asking me that. Mm-hmm. But he'll give you a good answer, right? Dave Roberts obviously is awesome.
I used to have good times with Madden when he was gone.
Madden was great. Terry, like the older guys were awesome. Terry Collins, Dusty, those guys. Now those guys are fun because they would say stuff. Leland,
they would
say stuff, and you're like, "This is what the managers say when I'm playing."
Yeah, they would either say, "Obviously, you can't share this part," but or sometimes they wouldn't even say that, but it was understood which parts you can and can't.
Oh, Leland would just say it, and then there was one time I was in Leland and I was still playing. I was on the White Sox.
And you're like, what?
I'm like,
can you
like,
share
you won't know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. No. We'll have to tell that story one time.
Let's do a quick few minutes on Hot Corner. Some of you might have read the great work in the Tampa Bay Times. I know other people were like, I don't have access. You got to, obviously, it's behind a paywall. Many things are, but I'll read what Alden Gonzalez from ESPN said about that article. He said, hate to see what's going on in St. Pete. A stalled bond vote has put a new stadium deal in jeopardy. The estimate on the Trop's roof repair might have been way too low, and now the Rays could consider relocation by 2026, which is also when you get the classic situation of the team saying, we might have to leave. But here's the thing. This is all coming up very quickly. So that's why this deal finally came to fruition. Then it got stalled, including potentially what happened with the weather situation out there. There are new people taking over in politics. So you add it all up, and what? What do we think? The only thing we do know is they're playing in Tampa next year. Then what? Are they even fixing that roof? Now they might just
leave.
They
finally took all the stuff off the roof. So now it's just the skeleton.
It's naked.
Roof. There's no more whatever tarp, whatever that was on there. It's just the bones, the skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But if the price, this is what we've been talking about the whole time, though, from people I had talked to. There was so much money involved in getting it fixed. The Rays were like, why are we going to waste our money? If they could pay $15 million a year and play 3 years in Tampa, so if they pay $45 million for 3 years in Tampa, they're going to make more than that. Yes, they're paying the Yankees. The Yankees are going to go out and get a player and say, thanks, Tampa. Thanks, Rays.
$15 million. Yeah, that is by far the highest.
It goes to $20 million and then $25. You just don't know.
Yeah.
But again, what happens if they go there and they sell that out? Because that place is big. It holds like 15,000. Mm-hmm. It's right there on Dale Mabry across from the Buck Stadium.
Yeah. They're going
to tons of people around there.
They're going to get action there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff to do. Restaurants, bars, everything is kind of right in that area. What happens if they go there and they sell it out every night? I mean, I don't think they will, but they get 12. They were only averaging what at the Trop? I don't even know what they were averaging.
It said 16, but that's a lie. They didn't have 16. Yeah. To me, I thought they were getting like when I would go to games, my guess was like 7,000 to 8,000 a night.
Which that's.
But I mean, then they played the Yankees or the Red Sox.
Yeah,
then certain teams where they just drew
then
better.
It fills up hard. Yeah. But fast forward, if they do get great attendance in Tampa, that still doesn't mean they get a deal done with the city. And this doesn't even just have to do with the team. This is a league thing as well. They need cities to give them a huge chunk of cash or other owners won't approve because that puts them in a bad leverage position with their city. This is where things get really complicated. And there is an outside chance that they just go, you know what? Nashville's a lock. Let's just put this there. There is a chance. I'm telling you. They just did that with another spot, and some cities are giving a ton of money out, right? We saw who is it? Milwaukee just gave a bunch of money to redo or renovate that ballpark. So we've got Arizona threatening right now. I don't know if there's been any progress there. This is the real stuff, obviously, that we cover behind the scenes that gets incredibly complicated because the ask from the MLB and the team side is to give a ton of money from the city and really a ton of real estate is what it ends up being to create these mini cities that most times turn out awesome, but also it's tough to sell within your community that you're giving these people this much money when they could pay for it themselves.
I don't think what's holding this up is the new people that came into office, came into the government spots that they're in to have to do this vote for the bonds. They want to keep their spots. Political people do not want to lose their power. They do not want to be the regime, the whatever, the people in government that got the Rays kicked out of town. To me, I think it's just stalled because they want to make sure their imprint, their footprint, their thumbprint on this whole thing is going in a direction that they want it to. Unless they're just so strongly opposed, then the Rays have to actually put their foot down and be like, well, we will move if you don't say that. Like, it's $1.3 billion project over 30 years to develop that entire area. I don't know. If you got voted into office, if you got voted into your government spot, I don't think you want to be the one that kicks the Rays out of town because I don't think you're getting reelected.
No, that's not what that's not it at all, I don't think. It's not that they got elected. They got elected, and they got elected on something, right? Whatever. I don't know what the elections or what the positions were.
Sure.
Some of them probably are just looking to get a better deal because let's say they got elected on, homelessness or, more medical or whatever their thing was that they got into this position.
Yep.
Like they're thinking, well, man, why am I giving $600 million to the Rays when, $50 million can go to your homelessness or $50 million can go to help schools. And that's what they were campaigned on. So now they have to take the hard line when at the end of the day, they don't want the Rays to leave because the Rays bring it up. But they have to at least posture like, well, let's see if we can get a little bit of a better deal here and there.
And that might happen. Right?
And it might happen. And it might not.
Yeah.
But still, they got to at least say to their constituents and the people who voted for them, I tried.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And now the other problem they have is, obviously living in Florida, you've been here in Florida, I know we have to get a break, but the hurricanes that hit, right, did so much damage, not only to the Trop, like we're only talking about the Trop, but to people's lives. Brett Phillips said, his family is lucky, but there's people I know that lost houses. Look, if you talk to Trisha Whitaker, she's lost her car, her house, everything. She's not even barely back yet because she can't get to her apartment she lived in, all this stuff, right? So there's so many other worries about things they have to worry about. This is kind of almost like, oh, how can we vote yes to give $500 million when there's people that are homeless that don't have anything right now? Yeah. So we need that money to go somewhere else. That's where it's kind of all hit at one time. And now they're like, oh, crap, what's going to happen?
This is a tough sell to a place that just got hit hard twice. That's part of it.
Pat McAfee, again, I know it's college football, but like he gave $400,000. The kid hit the field goal for $400,000 to hurricane relief.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. That doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Not that it
does something.
It's an unbelievable gesture, but like that number is so small for all the people that are out of stuff that we're talking hundreds of millions that need to go here to help people recover to where they were.
Right. That's why it's
hard. That's why the Trop is like, oh, it's there. Great. Nobody cares.
Imagine someone's going to be like, well, you're going to fix that for a few years for this league, this multi-billion-dollar league just for the city. Like, that's a bad look. So anyway, be right back. John Sterling, legendary Yankees radio broadcaster, just recently retired. Here we go. Shout out to Mint Mobile. Maybe it's the time of year where you are spending quite a bit on your holiday shopping and you're looking to drop down bills elsewhere. A spot that you can target, cell phone coverage. What are you paying right now? Okay, now let me let you know about a deal for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan, and it is called Mint Mobile. And you might be like, oh, it's difficult. It's not difficult to switch. You might be like, oh, well, what am I getting here? All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. It's on the nation's largest 5G network. As Kratz always says, it's what, Kratz? It's so
easy.
It is. So check it out, FT fam. Just go to the website at least, give it a look, see what you're working with, do some comparing. We've opened some eyes with this because we're trying to save people money too and just get the word out to our favorite sponsors. So to get the customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory to cut your wireless bill to $15 a month. And $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on their first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And we are going to connect with John Sterling in a minute.
All the Bally Sports Network.
Here we go. We're back on TV right now. Let's go to a really cozy looking atmosphere there. John Sterling joining us right now on the show. John, great to have you on. You hear us good?
Well, it's my pleasure, of course.
Yeah, well, great to have you on. How are you? How is retirement life treating you?
Well, life's treating me great. All I do is go to all these dinners. I keep getting honored, and you know what? I can't understand why. I've done nothing right. Anyway, that's what I've been doing in November, going to a lot of the dinners.
John, before we dig into what a great career you have, you might be getting honored now, but when we played against the Yankees, you were probably the most made fun of person in the world because every time we would beat the Yankees, everybody would go, "The Yankees lose! The Yankees lose!" Yes, we get to hear him not say that. So listen, we are very excited that you had a great career, but as a former ex-player that never got to play against the Yankees, when I didn't have to hear you, it was like, thank you. And, I didn't have to hear you make the home run calls. I didn't have to make you do any of that stuff. So it was an honor.
Well, thank you. Actually, I'd come out of ballparks after the Yankees would lose, and there would be people who would say, Yankees lose. Bah, Yankees lose. So I think I understand that. I accept that.
Kratz, did you get a home run call from Sterling?
I haven't, John. This is the thing. So I have a few regrets in my playing days. One is I never hit a triple, but the other one is I never hit a home run for the Yankees. I played there in 2017, got 2 at-bats, and then 2020, and I never got a Kratz home run call from John Sterling. And everybody said, well, he planned it. If you're on the team, he planned it. So I have to know, what would my home run call have been?
I really don't know, but I would have done something on Kratz. I'm from Milwaukee, and I ought to know. It's Kratz, wherever you go. Obviously, the beer was Blatz, but that's just
good.
But I mean, I haven't worked on it. Let me work on it, please, and then hit a home run.
Yeah,
Perfect.
of course. Or
Perfect.
Kratz, maybe he was like, I don't really have to.
He's like, I don't got to worry about Kratz hitting a homer, so
He probably
we're
didn't
good.
hit one.
Well,
Which one was your favorite one? That's what I want to know. Which one was your favorite home run call that you came up with associated with one of the Yankee players? Which one was maybe not your favorite? Which was the one that hit or your favorite, and then the one you think resonated with the fans the most?
Well, I'll give you two, and these two I actually made up while it was going on, and the words happened to hit me, and I think they were the most requested. I really don't know, but anyway, one of them is for Alex Rodriguez, an A-bomb from A-Rod, and the other would be Robbie Cano, don't you know? And they both came up while they were doing something.
I like it.
I like
it. It was more natural. It was more natural that way. You didn't think that's why, you know what? That's why you never came up with a Kratz one. Because the moment never hit you, John. So you never had to be like, man, that Kratz just shats on that ball.
No, it never hit me.
Hey, John, we had Dave Sims on this past Friday, and of course he was incredibly complimentary of you. Have you had the chance to speak with him since he accepted the job? And what advice would you give him for working with the legendary broadcaster Susan Waldman, who is also a regular guest on this show, and we love her dearly?
Well, it's very easy for Dave. Dave and I have been friends since the 70s when he was writing for the Daily News and I was broadcasting the New Jersey Nets out of Piscataway. And Dave and Susan are good friends. Very good friends. So they'll have no problems at all. And I don't give advice. I mean, I broadcast the way I broadcast by the seat of my pants. I also live life that way by the seat of my pants. So I would tell Dave Sims or anyone else who does that job, just be yourself. Sell yourself on the air. And, people will listen to it.
Did you listen to any games this summer? And if you did, was it weird?
No, it wasn't weird. The games are the easiest thing I do, by far. But one thing, Eric, I will tell you, I did the last 6 games of the year. They were at home. And then I went on the road, of course, for the playoffs. And one thing I told myself in the trips to Kansas City and Cleveland and Los Angeles, I told myself firmly, no more traveling. And I guarantee I will not travel. If I have to go in the area, Philly, Baltimore, Washington, Boston, I'll go in a car. I don't mind that at all. I sit in the back and read. So, but one thing I know is I'm not traveling anymore.
Will you do Yankee home games then? What if they call you and say, hey, John, we want you to do 10 games this year? Is that something you would do then?
If they said 10 games, I would do it. But, that would be like, one a week when they're at home. I guess I would do that. But I really, AJ, I don't want to go to work anymore. I mean,
understood.
If I have a talk show, which I might, depends, and it hits February 1st, which is only, 2.5 months away. I'm on the air February 1st, 2025. I will get a big kick out of that because I then will have been on the air 65 years. And when you're on 65 years, it's amazing. And I was there. So, but that's as little as I would want to. That's as much as I'd want to do a game a week.
Yeah, you could be like the special Sunday fill-in. You could be like Joe Buck or, Tony Romo or Tom Brady. Just works on Sundays.
Yeah, that's true.
Joe Buck works on Mondays. John Sterling does Sundays. Everyone tunes in to hear the great John Sterling only on Sundays. And then, Susan could take the day off. Dave could take the day off. Man, they'd be like, man, this is great. We'll just let John do that. He'd be the Vince Scully.
Well, actually, that sounds very good. And again, if I was the other guy, I would like it because I'd get a day off. In baseball, there aren't what am I telling you guys for? There aren't a whole lot of many days off, maybe 2 or 3 a month.
That's true. John, what'd you think of the team this year? I mean, I love, by the way, I loved when you're like, they run the bases like they're drunk, which was unbelievable to me because it kind of was the way they did run the bases. But you kind of nailed that.
At that point, they were. The odd thing, and it really tells you what a good job Mooney did. It's not a great team. There are a lot of holes in that team, and yet they finished with the best record in the American League. And if they had played a little bit cleaner, which they should have, I think they would have flown back to L.A. with a 3-2 lead. But obviously that didn't happen. But, really it was a terrific year for a team that, really had a lot of holes in it.
He's right. You're right. That's why the Dodgers came out and said what they said.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly and some of them, hey, we knew we were going to beat them because we knew if we put the ball in play, they'd make enough mistakes to where we'd eventually screw it up. And sadly for you, John, they did. So how many World Series rings do you have? I see you have one on. So how many actual World Series rings do you have?
5.
Do you wear all 5 at once? You put 5 on one hand and just walk up to dinner and you don't even say anything. You just walk in like this with all of them?
No. I wear one, and the others are somewhere in my closet, one of my closets. And I have a lot of a great memorabilia for someone who does not collect at all in any way, shape, or form. But, all the Emmys from Yankeeography and the different Hall of Fames. And anyway, I have a lot of that stuff. And one day I'm going to have someone come up and give me an appraisal for it. Because, frankly, all those things do collect dust. They're in a corner of the living room, and they collect dust. That's all.
So do you see it as junk? Do you see that? Do you see all that stuff as junk? Because other people see that as incredible memorabilia of a long journey of a career.
Yeah, Eric. I think I got this thought because Vin Scully did that near the end of his long career. I think he sold all of his memorabilia. I don't know if I will do that or not, but if you think that it depends on the person you are and what's important to you. And it doesn't really do anything for me. As I said, it just sits there and collects dust.
Hey, John, you gave us that little hint that, let's say you're not doing the AJ plan of calling the Sunday games, that you would still like to keep the voice going. So on broadcast, right? So what would be the ideal thing that you would do now, in your semi-retired life? Do you want to potentially you're talking about like talk radio kind of situation?
Yeah, I would do a talk show once a week.
Okay.
That's after I quote unquote retired, my general manager, Chris Olivero, said to me, why don't you go do a talk show on Saturday or Sunday? Because the fans didn't have a chance to say goodbye to you. And I came in, did the show. I've been doing talk shows forever. I mean, I started when they first worked out the phone system where they could delay the call 7 seconds, and that was in the mid-'60s. Boy, that's a long time ago. Anyway, I think that's what I would do. One talk show a week would be just about my speed. Like what AJ was thinking about, doing one game a week on a Sunday. I would do that.
Perfect. All right, John, I have to ask, you mentioned Yankeeography. Okay, as a visiting player, we would come in batting practice. There's no music when you go to Yankee Stadium, right? They run Yankeeography while you're taking BP. It's like Yankeeography, Erik Kratz. Yes, he hit no homers, but we're going to tell you why he was a great top 20 Yankee. And you're like, can we not get Yankeeography? So now that you're retired, who's going to bore the crap out of the visiting teams while they're hitting?
I don't know, but you hit on something that's pretty good. When the Red Sox came in 2004, having won the final 2 games of the 3 in Boston, and Kevin Millar, who's a very wordy fellow, as you know, he said, I can't stand hitting to Yankeeography. We're going to hit inside. And, of course, they won the final 2 games and came from 3-0 down. So you're not the only one who didn't like hitting to Yankeeography.
That's tremendous. So essentially it was John Sterling's Yankeeography that caused the Red Sox to come back and win that series.
Yes, I guess you could say that if you want to find
No.
someone else to point
Someone
the
else-
finger at.
Wait.
Someone else to
Kratz, real
blame.
quick. I'll counter that. It was his Yankeeography that led to so many damn losses until one team finally figured out how to counter that.
That's
It worked.
right.
It worked for so long, and finally they're like, "Can we beat this somehow?"
Yes.
Yes, I love that. John, what comes to your mind when you think the Rick Camp game?
Well, it was a daffy game. It was delayed by rain in the first 9 innings. And I started with Ernie Johnson on radio. And what we did is we would switch at the end of 4.5. Pete Van Weren and Skip Carey opened TV, and they'd go to radio, and we go radio to TV. And little did we know we're going to be on TV for the next 8 hours. And the Mets were a much better team. And they finally got ahead by 3 in the 13th. And a fellow that you won't remember, really nice guy named Terry Harper, he hit the foul pole in left field for a 3-run home run to tie the game, and on it went. And about Rick Camp, I'll give you a good line from Skip Carey. When I was a kid, the giant broadcaster was Russ Hodges, and even though I was a Yankee fan, I loved Russ Hodges. And Russ Hodges, had a lot of sayings, but one of them was that, anyone up there swinging a shillelagh is dangerous. So I did that one day in the year when Rick Camp was up. Rick Camp was the worst hitting pitcher in baseball. And I said, well, as Russ Hodges would say, anyone swinging a shillelagh is dangerous. And Skip said, obviously he didn't see Rick Camp. Well, so here we go to the 18th inning. The Mets again lead by 3. And Rick Camp, the worst hitter in the world, hits a 3-run home run to tie the game. And I would say that the buzz in the crowd was great, but it was 4 a.m, so there wasn't a lot of crowd. And so that was the Rick Camp story. Now, no one mentions in the 19th inning, he gave up 5 runs. And I went right to the bar with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy and had one for the road, as they say. And that was a heck of a night.
Man, 5 a.m. By the way, I just want you to know this, John, as someone that grew up in Florida and was a Braves fan, I know who all those people you're talking about are, okay? I mean, I remember Ken Oberkfell, Bob Horner, Rafael Ramirez, Rick Mailer, Rick Camp. I mean, trust me, Steve Bedrosian, Bruce Benedict. I mean, that was like my heyday. So don't say that nobody remembers the names of those guys, because when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, Dale Murphy, those were my guys.
Well, they were my guys too, and I loved doing those games, and they all were really nice guys. Bob Horner, Dale Murphy, Bruce Benedict, on and on and on. They all were good guys.
Hey, John, what do you think about the current Juan Soto pursuit? Obviously, this would be by far the most that the Yankees ever spend on a single player. I mean, I think it looks pretty safe that he's going to get himself at least close to $600 million in present day value money. So what do you think after, getting to see him a little bit this past season in pinstripes?
Oh, I wish I was his agent. That's what I think.
That's right.
If it was me, we're all different and we're all our own production. And I'm very pragmatic. So for me, if I really loved the Yankees and I really loved New York and I really loved playing with Aaron Judge, I'd say the difference between $550 million and $650 million really isn't very much. You would be unbelievably rich and you and your family would be protected for the rest of your lives and generations to come. But that's what I would do because I'm very pragmatic. I don't know what Soto has in mind, and I would gather that he and Scott Boras are going to try to, I don't blame them, get the most money they can, and they will. I mean, look at the people involved in this fight. The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers. No, he's going to get a phenomenal contract out of one of them.
What would George do? What would George be doing in this situation if he were still running this team and a player like Juan Soto was available, and those other teams that you just said were going after the same, and put on top of that, they just lost the World Series.
Well, I'll bring up the old Irving Berlin song, how deep is the ocean, how high is the sky, how much money can you make? And as I said, I don't know what's in Soto's mind, but I think he and Scott Boras are going to let it play out, and we're going to see a phenomenal final number attached to Soto's name. Now, I'm a Yankee since I was about 7 years old, so obviously I hope he signs with the Yanks.
John, I mean, George let Reggie walk, and he was the straw that stirs the drink. I don't think Soto's the straw, right? I mean, isn't Judge the straw now that stirs that Yankees drink?
Well, AJ, one thing. If you have Soto and Judge in your lineup, for the next 5, 6, 7 years, you're going to be doing very well and making a lot of money. I don't have any idea how much money they make or how much. I do know that baseball and basketball and football and hockey, too, are all doing very well, because that's the only reason that people would dole out these phenomenal contracts of 30, 40, 50 million a year. So I gather that the sports are doing fine.
Plus, they got your salary off the book, so they can definitely afford Soto now.
I wish.
Right.
Don't we all? Trust me, don't we all?
That's good.
Well, if I may, I'd like to thank all of you, Scott Braun and AJ Pierzynski and Erik Kratz. Good luck on the show, although your show is pretty good. And my advice, do it from the seat of your pants, and it will be even better. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen, very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, John. This was awesome. Really appreciate the time. John Sterling joining us on FT. It was really fun. All right, we'll be right back. Here we are. All right, what did we learn? Besides a good story or two. I mean, it is difficult for legends, baseball lifers to totally call it. I mean, he'd still like to have some action, right? You go from so much consistency and continuity in your life, and you're really good at it, right? You want to still be involved a little bit. I think that's fair. I mean, players can't do that. It's not a players thing where it's like, I love the game. I'm running out of steam, or my family wants time. So I'm just going to show up on start day if I'm a pitcher. I'll see you later.
That was like the Roger Clemens. Remember the Roger Clemens contract with Houston that one year?
Was that real? So
that was real.
That was a long time ago. So he would show up just
on days he would pitch.
And nothing else. He wasn't there the days in between.
Mm-mm. Best part of that story is Barry Bonds was on. I was in 2004, and Barry Bonds was on the Giants with me.
Yeah.
And Barry's like, "Why can't I get a contract like that?" And I'm like, "Barry, because you play left field, dude, and you play every day. You can't just pick and choose. Like, you play left field, you have 700 on base percentage this year, and your OPS is like 2,000. You can't just show up on days you play. Like, you play every day.
Right. What do you want? You want 7 days off a year, and those 7 you don't have to show up at the ballpark?
I don't know. But the days he got off, he showed up right before the game, and didn't just sat in there and got massaged. So maybe he counted those. But that was, I'll never forget that. We faced Clemens' first start in Houston that year, and then that was when it was all coming out. Like and Barry's like, "Man, I want that contract." We're like, "Barry, you're our left fielder."
We haven't even seen any contract like that since. Oh, Millich had it.
Lastings Millich, his first day off in the big leagues, his manager told him, "Hey, you got the day off." Willie Randolph was like, "Hey, you got the day off tomorrow." My guy showed up at 6:30. Everyone's like, "Where were you?" He's like, "You told me I had the day off." It's like, well, you still have to show up.
That's like a Yogi Berra or Ricky Henderson kind of thing. It's like, you said day off. I'm surprised he even showed up, period. Right? You said day off. I didn't come to
First time I played against Ricky Henderson.
Yeah.
Real quick. He was, I want to say he was with the Red Sox and the Mariners. He fouls the ball off and it just missed his foot, and he goes, "Oh, that would have hurt Ricky's foot real bad."
How he talked. Real life.
Third person. It was great.
Yeah. Let's give out contract predictions. I wore the shirt of my favorite owner today to be able to do this since he loves doing that. But anyway, Kratz gets to chill and just hang out and watch us do this because he did some contract dishing out yesterday. But you can criticize us after we're done, Kratz. Happy to let you do that. And if you missed what Kratz handed out as far as his deals on Friday, you can either go back to Friday's show or we'll package these all together into a nice little video. You don't have to, but I'd like to hear which 3 contracts you're getting done, what you think will happen, right? These are predictions. This isn't what you think the player deserves. This isn't what you think the player or the team should do. This is what you think will actually happen. And you've got 3 players that you chose.
I did.
Anthony Santander.
Anthony Santander, by the way, who has a great name, I'm going 484 now. People are going to say that's $21 million a year. People are going to say that's low. But my biggest thing is he's not a great outfielder. He's slower than Erik Kratz and me running the bases. So he's not a very athletic outfielder. He's not a great outfielder. So he's almost going to turn into a DH. So for me, that's why he's a little bit lower than probably some people are thinking. Now, do I hope he gets way more than that? Absolutely. But to me, people are going to say, well, you hit homers and that's really your one thing. Yes, you're a switch hitter, but there's no defense. The other one is Pete Alonso, Polar Bear. I'm going 5-125. And I want to say he goes back to the Mets. I think if the Mets get Soto, then they have to say we got to bring back Pete. And we're going for a super team, and we're really going for it. So I think 5-125 for Pete. That's a fair number. He can play defense a little more than Santander can. He hits more homers. He's done it in New York, and I think this is a hometown New York Mets thing. And the last one I want to do Blake Treinen. Blake Treinen had a great year, had a great run for the Dodgers, and I think he goes back to L.A. I'm going to pick a team here. 1 for 15. I think he goes back to the Dodgers for 1 year, $15 million. Probably tries to put a cap on his career. He's a great dude. We had him on here. He's awesome. Throws that sinker and that super nasty sweeper, and boom.
I like these on many levels. So I'll do a little bit of countering here. So for Pete, the offer reported in 2023 that he turned down, which was also an old front office regime. That's not there now. 7 years, $153 million. So this is 5 years, $125. So it's less, but also it's not technically because I think that included, either 23 and or 24, if that makes sense, right? So you're almost in a similar range there that now he's gotten to free agency and gets that kind of figure. Number 2, Santander, if you're looking at articles from some other prognosticators in the sport, they think that most of them think he's getting over 100. Most, not all. I actually agree with you on this one. The low mark I've seen from people that I usually follow is in the 60s. I think that's a little low, but the high mark is in the 130s, 140s. That seems steep for somebody that had the career year. Who's awesome. I think he's going to be really great.
He's been great for 2 or 3 years now.
Switch hitter, pop like that. People love him, but you're right. It's close to a one-dimensional
player. It's almost a one-dimensional.
He's not an on-base guy.
No, he's a home run guy.
And
he's not very good defensively. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't run the base because he's not fast.
Right. Got a good hit tool, but
he's great. Yeah. He's great.
It's not a guy who's going to walk or do any of those other things. Okay. And then lastly, I think you nailed it with Treinen. Some people might think that number sounds large. They shouldn't. I mean, he was one of the best relievers in baseball this year. Yes, he's up there in age. That's why you do a 1-year contract. But, I mean, Chapman's pulling numbers close to that mark, recently. I guess a little lower. Chapman was 1 year, 10.5 coming off his season with Texas. Blake Treinen is significantly better this year than what Chapman was coming off of with Texas, where he was kind of shaky in the playoffs. Remember in 23? Yep. Treinen was ridiculous for most of the playoffs.
I think he'll go back to the Dodgers because they want to take a shot at another ring. Yeah. I think they'll pay him like he deserves to be paid. Mm-hmm. Now, that might be a little high. I
don't think it is. I actually
think
that
one might be a little high because I really like Blake Treinen.
Yeah. But, I mean, didn't Kimbrel get a pretty close number to that mark too? And again,
he got 13
I mean, come on. Treinen, yes. I actually think there's going to be some good competition for him for 1 year because at that age, he'll do a year. I would think he wants to go to a contender, but I think that's the right number. All right. Kratz, any rebuttals, or can I roll mine out and then you can try to pick at us?
My only rebuttal, and I can't figure it out, is the Pete Alonso. Are you paying Pete Alonso $2 million less a year than Freddie Freeman?
That depends on what the market says he's worth. I mean, Freddie Freeman also got caught. Let's not forget, Freddie Freeman got caught in that weird thing where he always thought he was going back to the Braves, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like, oh, we just traded for Matt Olson, and Freddie Freeman's like, oh crap, I got to find somewhere to go. And the Dodgers were the team that stepped in and paid him a lot of money. The difference is inflation, the money's gone up for those type of players, right? Freddie Freeman signed what, 22? After 22, right? After 21. They won in 21.
Yeah.
So this is
after 21, right? After 21?
So they won in 21.
6 years, 162 was his number.
But
that
includes I don't think
big
Pete beats that, but $25 million for Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a team out there that'll say first of all, I think Pete's marketable. The people like him, and I think he goes back to the Mets. I don't know if there's another fit for him. If he doesn't get this from the Mets, I don't know where he gets the money.
The fit for me is Houston if they don't get Bregman back.
Okay.
If Bregman signs for like 180, 200, whatever, then they need pop. They need to replace a name like that. Obviously, it's at a different position, but they do have an opening at first
base. Yes, true.
And I think they've always been into him. I think they like that power.
Aren't they still paying Jose Abreu? One more year?
One more year, yeah. So there could be a little bit of stage fright, but also Pete Alonso and with the Crawford boxes or whatever they're going to end up calling him.
I think there's a lot of good fits for him. But I just don't know. I just think that people look at him as a one-dimensional guy, much like Santander.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think Pete Alonso has a bigger name, and I think you can sell him a little bit more to fans. Nothing against Anthony Santander because he's an unbelievable player and he hits homers too. But I just think more people know who Pete Alonso is, and fan-wise, than Anthony Santander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Crane knows. Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros, obviously good relationship, I think, with Boris. I think they'll have some combos about Bregman, and if it doesn't happen, they'll have some combos about Pete, and he'll try to get a market for Pete. Because, it is tough to figure out the first base market. All right, I'll rip through my three. I'll start with a big name, Willy Adames. I'm going to go at the high end of what people are probably thinking, but he's 29 years old. He's a shortstop. If you want to pick fun at anything or like poke a hole, maybe it's the defense and the metrics, but also I think he can play a nice shortstop still for a while and then transition and be a really good third baseman. So ready? I've got 8 years, $205 million. I think he's passing the 200 mark, and that's the goal here. Yeah, that's a big number. Dansby Swanson is the number he's going to look at and say 177. I could see him going to a team that is looking at luxury tax implications and saying, let's add an 8th year. So essentially, let's do a deal that's like, where did I put the numbers? 196, and let's add an 8th year for an extra $9 million that stretches this money out and will lock you up until you're 36 years old. So I just think most of the predictions that I saw were 7 years. I'm going 8. And I think that's going to be one of the themes here is the big market teams are going to say, we're not going to give you the best average annual value because we're going to tack on years so that we can lower that luxury tax number. Because what happened in the last collective bargaining agreement is they didn't raise the luxury tax numbers commensurate to the revenue of the league. That's a huge issue for the big market teams. That was done on purpose to try and hold them back. It's a soft cap. So that is the way that you counter it. That's why Soto's going to sign for 14, 15 plus years so that you can stretch that money out. That's what's going to happen with Adames, especially if he signs with a team like, say, the Dodgers. Okay. Next up for me, Blake Snell. I got 4 years because he's, I think, 32 years old now and $128 million. So I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. I think that he's going to look for, I think he's going to look for the deal that kind of takes him to the back half of his career, doesn't want to do the 1-year contract again. I could see him signing earlier on this offseason. And at that rate, you're looking at, what did I have here? 128 divided by 4 Kratz. I did this for you the other day, but I think I put him at 32. Yes, 32 on average annual value. That's the number I have for him. Any thoughts so far? And then I'll give you my last one.
I think you've been pretty close.
Kratz?
I think Adames is a tick high. I think Adames is a tick high just because of his severe decline in his defensive metrics this year. That is like very glaring for teams that know at the end of an 8-year or even a 6-year career, he's probably not, or 6-year contract, 8-year contract, he's probably not playing short. Do the Dodgers want to sign another shortstop and then have to push Mookie back to short again because his defensive metrics were closer to what he did this year than what he had done the previous 4 years? Like, if they can put their finger on why his numbers were bad, then I think that team says, okay, I'll give the 8 and 200. I love that contract then. If not, I think they're going to be scared and be closer to like the 165-ish.
Okay. And then some other teams, there's going to be 2 teams thinking the same way, and one other team's going to go above. That's my thoughts, and especially because I do think he can place third or second. And then lastly, I picked this one on purpose. This one was tough for me. Sean Manaea, 4 years, $88 million. I mean, it's a lot more money than he's ever made in his career, but I think he's going to be.
I don't think he gets that much. I think
that's
he gets
too
shorter
high?
years.
Because he's
I think teams are
33
going
on
to want to
opening
say
day.
they're going to say to him, "We'll give you 2 or 3 years and see if what you did was with
I don't
maybe
think
an
2's
option,
getting it
maybe
done.
some options on the back end." I don't know.
There's enough teams I think that are going to throw at least 2 his way, and it's going to get to 3. And I'm like, could it get to 4 and again get stretched out so it's 22 a year?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Some of the predictions I was looking at from people that I like had him at 3 years and had a higher average annual value. And again, I was like, let's say it's the Mets, who I think are very, very interested in bringing him back. Again, they're like, can we get that average annual value number down? Because we're going to start soaring past the Steve Cohen luxury tax number, especially if like their offseason might be Soto, Burns, Manaea. And if that's the case, they're like, we got to be careful here, and maybe Pete. So anyway, thoughts
I got
from
one
everyone?
more, by the way,
Yeah.
and I think I'm going to get this one right. Garrett Cole's going to sign 4 years, 144. Just want to say.
Didn't he already do that?
No, man. Maybe.
You're saying he's going to opt back out.
Did he?
And then opt back in again.
Yep.
Wow.
He's going to get 4 years, 144. It's going to be about 36 a year.
Well, they're still talking, as are everybody with everyone. We're still talking. Kratz is still talking. Kratz has had conversations with many GMs on this show. They're still talking. So everyone's still talking, right?
True.
Okay. Let us know what you think. Comment below. Be right back. So now I could actually, for the first time, I think, on this show, ask you for your thoughts now that it's over, that, you know, Oakland is not going to have baseball, at least for the short term, and how this looks for a player that, especially a vet, is on a team that is going to play years and years at a minor league facility, and like what it means for the sport. Because I know you're opinionated on this stuff and you have a connection there, and honestly, it sucks.
Yeah, it definitely sucks. I mean, both my wife and I watched that last game at Oakland, and I teared up. It was an emotional day. I mean, I spent 5 years there. I spent a good term of my entire baseball life there, and it was also, I was mediocre, I was good, and had some really good years at the end, and so it completely tracked my trajectory. And I don't think without Oakland I'd be where I am today. I don't think without Oakland in that situations I would still be playing baseball. And so it definitely weighs in my heart. I've got a little bit of dirt from the Coliseum Mound that's up there that I started collecting. We went there early this year, so went and grabbed it then. But yeah, it sucks. It's unfortunate because I think anybody who, as a fan, goes there, the stadium not great. Anybody who played there, other than the clubhouse and all that sort of stuff, the playing surface, by far and away the best in the league. It was phenomenal. The mound was fantastic. The dirt was fantastic. The grass. Even when they were playing football on it, it was a fantastic place to actually play. I mean, I'm a bias as a pitcher because it was fantastic for me even more. But there was a lot of positives to what they were able to do with what they were given. And that's something that it just sucks. I mean, I've said it before, but you're rewarding the ineptitude of an owner.
Excuse me. We've been talking about a guy for a little time now, Juan Soto. We're talking with him and how, you know, there was some big talks, 3-hour meeting. I mean, that's got to be a little bit exciting just to hear that news.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you look at from our roster breakdown point of view, does it make the most sense? No. But how many times does a guy of Juan Soto's caliber at his age come up on the free agent market? And when you've got pockets enough to be able to delve into it, you may as well check it out. You may as well do your due diligence. And you know what? He's a generational player that you can build around. And I don't think there's ever going to be anybody that stops him in a lineup. So you may as well try and go out there and do what you need to do to meet him and see what his demands are and see if it aligns with where we're going. And I mean, from all I know, we're going full metal, and hopefully we can make those big moves and big splashy moves because it's the AL East. It's not exactly a league where you can, or a division where you can just kind of coast by.
Where will Juan go?
Mm.
Did you see what I was saying in our internal chat? Did you catch that or no?
No.
Oh, good.
Not to watch that.
Perfect. So in our internal chat,
Didn't we just talk about Juan Soto? Have we talked about Juan Soto like already enough today?
No, I was in the chat. I was like, can you please also run the Where Will Juan Go for AJ?
He really doesn't want it. Yeah. Oh,
you missed that, and I was like,
you know what? I missed Thursday because I had signing day with my son, and then I missed Friday because I was golfing.
Yeah. You missed us?
But I did not miss that at all. I'd forgotten about it, and then you just have to bring it back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where will Juan go? Here's the Hector Gomez report. He said, according to former big leaguer Carlos Baerga, the Mets' initial offer to Juan Soto in LA was $660 million.
Does he think he can do better than that?
Also, I don't know if there's deferrals involved, but does he think he can do better than that? I do not think for present day money he is going to beat that. If that's the present day money offer, right? Again, deferrals make everything complicated. If the number is 660, even if it's over whatever, 15 plus years, I do not think he is getting more.
So why
than
didn't
that.
he take it?
So then you're saying it's probably not a real offer, or it's
I'm just saying, like, what? I mean, does he go to the other team and say, "I got 660 on the table," and then wait, and every team goes, "Yeah, we ain't touching that."
Mm-hmm.
So then he should have taken. I mean, that was how many days ago that he had this meeting? It's been a while now.
I don't say there's a limit. I mean, I don't think there's a time limit on it. It's not a ticking time bomb.
It was this weekend for sure. Saturday or Sunday was the meeting. Monday today is the Yankees meeting.
Not to be distracted by the whole Juan Soto thing, but I can just see Carlos Baerga saying this. Like, Carlos Baerga's hair is pristine. Anyway, I just had to say it because we get a lot of Juan Soto talk. The perfect slicked back hair, and Carlos Baerga could be like, "Hey, did you hear he got 660?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, I guess I gotta write this. Thank you."
I have a hard time. This has been my one thing. I have a hard time seeing the Mets get outbid. He might still say, I want to be a Yankee. I don't know where his brain's at, although I think he's going to take the biggest money. But I still have a hard time seeing the Mets get outbid.
What do you think it is, 15 years? If it's correct, 15 years at 660.
It's 44 a year.
44 a year. I feel like that's on par. Is there any way that they push it to, like, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying a 16th year just to spread it out even more?
I think it's possible. You spread that money as much as you can.
Can you do something like you did with Pujols and like throw in the years of like
personal service, which was
clauses.
what, 10 million, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Ryan Zimmerman got the same thing when he got his deal. Like personal services.
Speaking of people that are still getting paid, I saw Griffey on Friday.
Is he still getting paid?
Yeah, he goes, he's like, I get my last installment from the Reds. I think he said whenever it is. And I said, dude, you were like the third highest player on the Reds. He's like, ain't that a bitch?
That's good. All right. Last one for spreading rumors that I want to just throw out there because we're going to have him on the show in a couple days. But Jim Bowden on his radio show yesterday on Sirius put out an idea that Roki Sasaki to the Dodgers isn't a slam dunk. Also said he's definitely going to be part of that January posting period, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Still plenty of time before the season. But he said the driving force, and this is a little bit of paraphrasing from Dodgers Tailgate. I listened to him on the show yesterday, but that endorsements and making money are a big deal. Stability of front office and manager. So a lot of people were commenting like, that all sounds like the Dodgers. But here was the kicker. He said endorsements might not be as lucrative since he would be under the shadow of Ohtani and Yamamoto. He was basically saying that he's heard that Senga can do better on endorsements than Yamamoto because Ohtani scoops up all the endorsements for the Dodgers player part. I don't know how all that works. We can ask him more about it.
But if he goes to the Padres, you got Darvish, you got to compete.
But Darvish is retiring soon.
Go to the Cubs, you got Emenaga and Suzuki.
Here come those Red Sox.
Do you have the left fielder?
Yoshida.
Yeah, Yoshida.
So
Brewers!
Who's a team that doesn't have anyone? Here come those Brewers.
What a pitching development.
Seattle.
Seattle had Ichiro.
And then they can finally trade one of those starters.
Closer, Kawasaki. That dude was nasty, by the way.
Yeah, he was.
And
nasty.
Jojima.
Oh, Jojima. That didn't work out so
Ishikawa.
good. He was a nice guy, but it didn't work out so good.
Frying pan.
Hishigawa.
Shigetoshi Hashigawa.
Yeah.
He once threw at me, and the next pitch I hit one about 900 feet off of him. He threw at me in myth, and I told him, don't you miss. Next pitch.
We might get
one of like the 3 times in my life I tried to hit a homer, and I actually did it.
Woo! Oh, we got to get that connection then. We know him. We might get him.
I know.
On.
I talked to him about it at the home run derby. He sat behind me at the home run derby, and we had a whole conversation about it. He's like, I remember that. And I was like, you shouldn't have missed.
That's awesome. All right, let's hit a break. We'll be right back. We'll go over actually some tough news for Brusdar Graterol hurting the Dodgers and their bullpen for the first half of next season. BetMGM futures, let's look at the World Series state of the winning team. We're going to start to get some more data here so we can sift through some other reports, trying to get some player award info as well, but really trying to quiz you here and make you think.
I mean, you just got to go California because of the number of teams.
Well, but it's plus 275.
Pennsylvania, you can chop off half the teams right away. So you're really betting 1,100 on the Phillies.
Yeah, that's a waste.
Because the Pirates ain't winning the World Series.
Yep.
Although I will say this. You got Skeens, Jones, and Keller. Pittsburgh. Go out and spend some money and get some damn offense. Please.
Don't say
Please.
Pittsburgh.
Those 3 dudes are
say
good.
Bob. Say Bob.
Pittsburgh. Whoever. Bob. Ben.
Robert. Nutting.
Whoever. Don't worry about people parking in your spot if you haven't seen AJ Burnett. Listen to the story.
Yeah.
Worry about spending money and getting some hitters.
Yeah. Come on, Bobo. New York or Texas, Kratz? Where's the better value? Obviously, I know plus 950 is the better value, but do you feel like that Texas-Houston matchup there is better than that Mets-Yankees combo? And when I say matchup, I don't mean they have to meet up. I'm just saying, do you think that it's twice as likely that the Mets or Yankees win the World Series versus the Rangers and Astros? I don't.
You just heard John Sterling say that the Yankees had a lot of holes, so credit Aaron Boone for getting them to where they got them to. The Yankees have a lot of holes to fill. The Mets, as much as we know, they could spend $200 million in salary this offseason just for next year. So they still have to fill those spots. They can't just go out and get everybody. So that's not a guarantee either. Who's been in the World Series and won it the last few years? Texas, Houston. I love that. Plus 950. That's an easy throwdown for me.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Hey, the first bet offer is FOUL, FOUL. I crushed it this weekend on that Paul Tyson fight. Crushed it. Anyway, sign up and deposit at least $10 into your BetMGM.
That fight was so bad.
I don't care about that.
So I stayed up till 2 a.m. to watch it.
I made a G. Place your first wager, receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. If that happens, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. I did 2 bets. I went over on the rounds at 5.5. My buddy locked it in even later on at 6.5. We still were good there. And then I did Paul by decision, which was like close to plus 300.
Which was like what everybody should have bet on.
It was one of those.
Mike Tyson didn't knock him out in the first round, he just stood there like this.
Yeah, I was
never
like,
even threw a punch for like 6 rounds.
I don't think Jake's gonna knock him out, and I think they want to just put on a show as best as you can for a 6-year-old trying to box. We don't do this much in the offseason, but we are doing Injuries Suck because we did get some news the other day that Brusdar Graterol is going to miss the first half of 2025. He's getting shoulder surgery, made a few appearances in the World Series. It sucks. I mean, he's a good arm. He's a unique arm. He's got a lot of passion and flair on the mound. So I just miss seeing him more consistently on the mound. He barely pitched this year for the Dodgers, but that's a hit for them. It's cool if he comes back in the second half, but he barely pitched this year.
Injury prone. This is the definition of injury prone. Now, whatever you want to call it. I mean, remember he came back and hurt his hamstring like his first. He came back from whatever he had wrong, and then he hurt his hamstring his first time out, and then he came back and pitched. But injury prone, man. Why? You don't know why some people are injury prone and some people aren't. It's just whether it's genetics, luck, whatever you want to call it. But he's just injury prone. I hate to use that word.
He throws so easy. It is the easiest 99 to 100 mile an hour bowling balls in the game. And the fact that he had 7 regular season appearances and now he needs surgery and he came out in the World Series and was just blowing doors shows me that hopefully he's able to come back from this. Anytime we will say it until they take us off the air, shoulder is the one bugaboo injury that you just hate to hear for any pitcher, old, young, tough to come back from. How easy he gets the ball out of his hand at 99 miles an hour and how much of a monster this guy is, I feel like he might be able to come back and still do what he does. It almost looks like he's just playing catch, and it's just like
Yep, and he's 26 years old, right? It's not like he's, deep into his career yet. So get well soon to Brusdar Graterol. He's put up really good numbers out of the bullpen for the Dodgers when he's been on the mound. Okay, the Baltimore Orioles are again adjusting Baltimore out there in left field. So we'll go over it during Slap when we swing right back. Okay, so I want to go back for a moment, Dave. You know this, and that was my first reaction actually yesterday before the news was official. There was like the reports coming out, whatever, which is fun. Hey, it looks like Dave Sims is going to be the new Yankees radio broadcaster. And I wrote how, for me, I am a night owl and I watch late night games, right? And for me, when I know Dave is on the call, I'm locked into the Mariners game and I will give that favor over some other games. Obviously, it was fun to watch their pitching staff this year, but what are your feelings about your time in Seattle, people that have reached out, and then even the layer of what you experienced with the team? Because you're going to the Yankees. You just made your pitch to Juan Soto. You were the voice of a franchise that, especially right now, has so much talent, but has so much not negative history, but you can put it into words better than I can. I mean, damn, that city deserves more playoff status.
Well, man, I'm telling you, it's a very good sports town. It's got maybe the hungriest fan base there is. I mean, so many other, here in New York, you expect it, playoffs, World Series, yada, yada, yada. But, that'd be a first time thing in Seattle. And I always harken back to the division series against Houston a few years ago. The game 3 goes 18 innings. Those fans, and I don't care what the numbers say, say capacity was 45 and change. Heck, there was like 52, 53,000 people in that ballpark. And they stood for the last 9 innings and cheered their lungs out, cheered their hearts out. It's a terrific fan base, dying for a winner. So many good people, in the organization of people, and then friends I've made around the area. In Seattle, it's just been stuff I'll never forget. So, I wish them well, and I tell you, it still hacks me off that with that starting rotation that was so good, and all those cats, with the exception of Brian Wu, but he was outstanding. For the most part, made all their starts, and we missed the playoffs by a freaking game. And I can't tell you, the last 8-9 weeks, every coach that I know, in opposing teams and players and managers, dude, we do not want to place you effing guys in the playoffs. Not with that pitching staff. And then to finish a game, it was one of the worst hitting teams ever, but one of the best pitching teams ever. So, yeah, it's a shame it didn't work out, man. But a lot of good dudes on that team. A lot of them are going to be back this coming year, and wish them well, except when they play most Yankees.
got a little time for slap. I wanted it so that we can get to one more topic that was pretty big. Baltimore is moving the fences back in now as they try and correct their overcorrection of moving the wall too far back, which did appeal to some pitchers and helped them to some degree. But then the offense fell off towards the end of the year, and it's moving on up.
Plus, it took away the home run robberies they used to have in Baltimore. There used to be a lot of them there. But the wall was so high, one could hit it that far, and two, no one could jump that high.
Yeah, no wall should be too high that you can't rob a home run. Like
yeah, plus Manny Ramirez can't give the guy a high five after he catches one.
Yeah,
double off
true.
The guy.
So Jacob Calvin-Meyer, who covers the team every day, does a great job. He's been on here before. He said, how much input did the players have? Quote, the feedback consistently was that the extremity of the disparity in the park was a bit more of a topic of combo than we had bargained for. We didn't like the degree to which that had become a distraction. I honestly don't know who said that, but my guess is Michael Eyes because he talks way smarter than I can understand. But anyway, they decided, hey, let's move it back in again. And hopefully this is the happy medium to make people like Ryan Mountcastle happy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys would feel good about
far. That was so far. Who approved this? And they didn't even get any free agent pitchers to sign there. Like when they did that, I was like, whoa, maybe some free agent pitchers will be like, yeah, now it's not so bad to play there. They took seats away. They made it impossible to hit homers out of there. Like first row shots were absolute bombs to get the ball that far in Camden Yards. Who approved this in the first place?
I have no idea. It's a great call. I have no idea. But it's a new ownership group. Keep that in mind too. So they probably come in, right? And they say, all right, what do we got here? Who did the dumb stuff? Or also let's switch something structurally that's really up to us. So this is the second time in 3 years they do this. In some areas, the left field fence will be brought in by as much as 26 feet, according to the team issued graphic. That's a good chunk to move back in. So good for you, Baltimore.
Shorter. That 373 down the line, is going to be weird. It's going to be a super nooks and crannies through that area.
I like nooks and crannies ballparks. That's fun. Okay, next up, Minute Maid Park, no more. Many people are going to struggle to not call it the juice box. But did you see that?
I don't even know what Dakin is.
Well, that's why they do sponsorship deals. So that you can talk about it and get not free, but get organic promotion out of it. Because they're going to say that and people are going to be like, well, what the heck is that? And then they might look it up.
Daikin? Is it Daikin?
Yeah, it's AC. So now it might be the icebox.
All right. Hopefully Jeff Blum gets a free air conditioner from that.
Hopefully. He needs it. Heard his house is hot. And do you want to see the Torey Lovello pick too? Because they had a crowd shot, and I don't think they said his name. They were just showing crowd shots, and it's like, oh, there's a big league manager.
Bills fan. Not a lot.
I didn't know he was a Bills fan. He's an LA guy. He's a UCLA guy. I think he'd be a Rams fan or.
But doesn't he have some type of New York connection in his life?
I mean, he was a Red Sox coach, but I don't know Bills. Unless he really like playing in Buffalo, which only Kratz likes playing in Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't think that's what it was.
We love that.
Who are they playing?
Last night they played the Chiefs.
Right. So maybe he's a Chiefs guy, or maybe it's just like, cool, this is a sick game. Yeah. I'm gonna go. It was like the game to go to, right? Of the day.
We're not allowed to talk about football though, Scott.
Well, we talked about semi-pro boxing for a minute during the break. For the TV crowd, some things to think about. Fair territory with Ken Rosenthal this week. What's the problem, Kratz?
Maybe he found love in Buffalo. He played in Buffalo for 2 seasons, 95 and maybe even 96 too, 95, 97. So maybe there's his connection.
Okay. Yeah, maybe he's got friends out there. Fair territory with Ken Rosenthal is out on our YouTube channel. And then for the TV crowd and really for everyone, I'm going to lay out some guests for this week that are scheduled. The new manager of the Chicago White Sox is Will Venable. He's scheduled to join us tomorrow. Bowden, who I mentioned, will join us on Wednesday. We could have 1 or even 2 Manager of the Year winners joining us on Wednesday. Chris Sale is an absolute lock for Cy Young. He'll join us Thursday. Working on some other potential award winners. So the guest list sometimes comes together very last minute, but we've actually got some some names surfacing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, Brent Rooker, shout out for being cool on socials. There was something put up with him and Pasquantino since they're buddies. They've been on with us together. And someone goes, need you both in the same clubhouse. And Rooker quote tweets it and goes, well, boy, do I have a funny story for you. The Royals cut him.
Rooker?
Yeah, he was there for a quick second.
Twins guy. It was a Twins draft pick.
Traded by the Padres to the Royals, and then traded by the Twins. Wait, where am I here? I think I'm going backwards. Yeah, traded by the Padres to the Royals, and then claimed off waivers by the A's a couple months later from the Royals.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, I was there. And they said, no.
Nope.
And I said, all-star. So, anyway.
By the way, big birthday day today. Gary Sheffield, David Ortiz, Jamie Moyer still pitching somewhere probably, Dante Bichette, Ron Coomer, who people don't realize played. He just think he's the voice of the Cubs on radio. And last but not least, Kratz don't even know this guy. Jim Schellenbach was my coach in short season ball in Elizabethton, Tennessee. And he talked like this. He'd go, ammo! He was a lefty, and he had one leg that was like curved like this because he broke his ankle. And he literally had like a curve in his leg. And he'd throw left-handed BP, and he'd go, ammo!
You came up in the Wild West. You definitely lived it.
Called Florida. Just going through any questions here for the last 2 minutes for the YouTube crowd. See Michael talking about Kansas City. Why would you trade a 3.1 WAR starting pitcher for a guy barely better than Michael Massey? I mean, I think they would. I would think they consider him
Is that deal
better.
official?
No. I don't. I had heard from a couple people that it might not happen now that this was pre-Nick Martinez action. So that's the whole thing is, okay, I know Kratz said it still could happen, but I just keep factoring in the money. Brady Singer is projected in arbitration to make $8 to $9 million. It starts to get to be a very expensive starting rotation for a team that doesn't spend a ton of money.
Okay. I get that, but I think Jonathan India will give you much more. I mean, stats-wise, I think just as on base. You need somebody on base in front of Bobby Witt early in the game, and Jonathan India fits that bill.
No, I think the Royals still could trade for Jonathan India. It might just require someone else or some other creative money situation because India's, I think, pegged for $5 million. So now the Reds would be still taking on another several $1 million. Maybe
India's
that's
on
fine.
A 2-year deal. Yeah, he's on a 2-year deal.
Right. He locked in some arbitration years. So India had I know they had the same OPS plus this year. India and Michael Massey, same WAR. But Michael Massey had a 294 on base percentage, did have more slug. And Jonathan India had a 357. Also, players fluctuate season to season. Yeah, this was a little bit of a better year for India in terms of on-base percentage, but also I think Massey took a better step this year. Yeah, this was only his third year and his first year with an OPS plus above 100, and he hasn't been a full-time player yet really either. He's played 100 games this year, 130 last year, and 52 when he first came up. So anyway, I still do think they'd consider India an upgrade. Leadership, on-base percentage, it's what they're looking for.
And India had one of the lowest chase rates swinging outside the zone of any player in the big leagues. That's trending the up. It was like 17%. That's trending up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not? We're talking about a Royals trade. Maybe somebody from Omaha is going to be going to the Reds too. Little Omaha Storm Chasers hat.
AKA Sonic the Hedgehog ring hat.
Mm-hmm.
It looks exactly like the damn ring. FT fam, it's only Monday. Quick show though. Dodger territory on the YouTube channel there. Go check it out. Then at 3:30 Eastern, come on back for Baseball America Hot Sheet. Do a little prospect talk. And we'll see you on Tuesday. See ya.